You should have seen it coming. Angel Reese, an LSU basketball player, has been in the limelight since her heated interactions with Caitlin Clark. However, what seemed to be a rivalry on the court has rapidly turned into a media storm, with Angel Reese's name making headlines for all the wrong reasons. Reese, who previously basked in the pleasure of guiding her team to success, is now continually entangled in off-court turmoil, and experts are calling her out for it. But is it just about her performance, or is there more to the story? And how has Caitlin Clark's rapid climb shocked everyone, even Reese?
I think so many people are watching women's basketball right now. It all started from the national championship game, and I've been dealing with this for 2 years now. And understanding, like, yeah, negative things have probably been said about me, but honestly, I'll take that because look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball. People are pulling up to games. We got celebrities coming to games, sold out arenas, like just because of one single game. And just looking at that, like, I'll take that role. I'll take the bad guy role, and I'll continue to take that on and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, and I know I'll go down in history, I'll look back in 20 years and be like...
As Reese's emotional outbursts and jealousy grow increasingly obvious, professionals and fans alike begin to see a trend. Angel Reese is obviously skilled, but every time she leaves the court, her behaviors outshine her physical abilities. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is creating history, smashing records, and establishing a new standard in women's basketball. This is a rivalry that has gone beyond athletics, affecting human feelings, racial dynamics, and public opinion. But at the heart of it all, one thing is clear: Angel Reese is failing to keep up, which is harming her reputation.
Yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that. Like, it's not just because of one person. A lot of us have done so much for this game, and Kennedy has been here before, obviously, but there are so many great players in this league that have deserved this for a really, really long time, and luckily, it's coming now.
Caitlin Clark's name has been on everyone's lips since her debut. She drew the attention of basketball fans from the outset, and it wasn't long before her performances in the WNBA were well known. Clark's ability to dominate the floor via shooting, playmaking, and leadership has been nothing short of amazing. In her debut season, she has already broken records, shattered expectations, and received the type of attention that athletes yearn for. What's most astonishing isn't her particular brilliance, but how she's managed to thrive against the obstacles.
I think it's a little different. I think the biggest thing for myself is, like, this is my senior year. You know, it's special being able to celebrate this with my teammates and having them here and preparing for a Final Four game, but you know, it doesn't happen without them. It doesn't happen without the amazing coaches, and you know, to kind of end my career in this note and hopefully winning a national title would be perfect.
How do you stay focused when you go to so many things like this?
I think, you know, my main focus is on preparing for a game. I think that's pretty easy for me. I don't think you need much motivation other than you're playing in the Final Four with a trip on the national championship on the line.
Clark was sure to draw attention, even without the extra gasoline of her feud with Reese. This young Iowa star has done more than just play the game. She has transformed the narrative of women's basketball. Clark had already made headlines before taking on Angel Reese, and she was the reason people were tuned in. The limelight followed her, and she handled it with elegance and calm, focusing on what was most important: her performance on the court. As Clark's popularity rose, Angel Reese's frustrations became more obvious, and their antagonism quickly heated up.
Get it! Count it for Clark!
Angel Reese's focus has shifted beyond basketball. While she is clearly skilled and has led her team to tremendous successes, her off-court behavior has prompted concerns about her capacity to deal with the responsibilities of stardom. The rivalry with Caitlin Clark seemed to begin on the court, but it swiftly grew into something more personal. Reese, irritated with Clark's attention, began generating news for all the wrong reasons, including emotional outbursts, jealousy, and frantic efforts to remain relevant.
Single game. And just looking at that, like, I'll take that role. I'll take the bad guy role, and I'll continue to take that on and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, and I know I'll go down in history, I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that. Like, it's not just because of one person. A lot of us have done so much for this game, and Kennedy has been here before, obviously, but there are so many great players in this league that have deserved this for a really, really long time, and luckily, it's coming now.
Reese's dissatisfaction is reasonable to some degree. Here she is, a player who has worked hard and helped her team win big games, yet an Iowa rookie overshadows her. But every time Reese speaks, it seems like another episode in an unwelcome soap drama. Her desire to be acknowledged, her frequent drama, and her emotional outbursts all point to a player who is unable to cope with the success of others. Unfortunately for Reese, Caitlin Clark is the focus of every news, leaving her to applaud from the sidelines.
These last two whistles for me are very questionable. I love the speed of Caitlin Clark, the push. All right, strip to the free throw line. One thing, though, that we did have an opportunity.
When the experts began pounding Angel Reese, it served as a wake-up call. Stephen A. Smith, Matt Barnes, and Pat McAfee were blunt about Reese's behavior. It wasn't just her on-court abilities. Everyone knew she had them, but her inability to bear the limelight properly. According to Stephen A. Smith, Reese is a fantastic player who has the potential to be a WNBA star, but she is not there yet. And why? Because she allows her emotions and jealousy and wants attention to overpower her skills.
It's nothing really to say other than that. She's winning Rookie of the Year. She's a top candidate for League MVP honors. She ain't beating Asia Wilson for the MVP, but she's beating Angel Reese for the Rookie of the Year. That's a wrap. That's over. And props to Angel Reese, who's had a good year, by the way. Quick hitter number 3 goes to Chicago Sky rookie forward Angel Reese, who has a new weekly podcast called Unapologetically Angel. It's part of Playmakers Network of podcasts from Shaquille O'Neal.
Matt Barnes agreed, adding that although Angel Reese is a force to be reckoned with, she is more concerned with making the story about herself rather than allowing her game to speak for itself. Pat McAfee did not mince words when he mentioned the racial dynamics at play. Caitlin Clark, a white girl from Iowa, was receiving all the attention, which irritated Reese, who believed the WNBA was neglecting her accomplishments. However, Clark's success was entirely due to her record-breaking performances and unquestionable skill, not race.
Reese was older, I would have gotten on her about what she just said. Because I would have been like, how naive can you be? But she is young. She's only 22. And the reality is the scrutiny that she's been subjected to is inexcusable. It's egregious. It's disgusting. It's wrong. And there's a bunch of punk, no good, you know what's out there on the male and female side.
The racial dimensions that have emerged in this competition cannot be ignored. Caitlin Clark's ascent to prominence has raised debates about racism, privilege, and representation in women's athletics. Some feel that Clark's success is recognized because she is a white player in a largely black league, while others think that her skill speaks for itself, independent of race. Angel Reese, on the other hand, believes that her accomplishments are being disregarded due to Clark's popularity.
But despite the attendance and viewership records, there seems to be some haterade in the league in regards to Clark, starting with WNBA legend Cheryl Swoopes herself. She recently spoke on her podcast, Queens of the Court, and didn't mention the rookie when speaking of Indiana's rise in the standings.
Reese's unhappiness is not wholly unfounded. The WNBA has historically been dominated by black athletes, so seeing a white rookie like Clark come in and grab the limelight is likely to elicit some anger. However, as many experts have pointed out, Clark's success is unrelated to race. It is all about her game. Clark is shattering records, increasing viewership, and attracting people in ways that no one has before. And although Reese may feel overlooked, the attention Clark is receiving is well deserved.
How long were you sitting on the...
Oh, I was waiting.
How long were you sitting
I
on the...
tell you, I was waiting. Me?
At what point were you waiting to pull out this?
Man.
This kind of the Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark is a hell of a
Incredible.
player for sure. But I don't take disrespect lightly. And she disrespected Alexis and my girls. South Carolina, they still my SEC girls too. Y'all not gonna disrespect them either. So I wanted to pick her pocket, but I had a moment at the end of the game, and I was in my bag. I was in my moment. Yeah.
Angel Reese is battling not just on the court, but also off the court, which has sparked controversy. From dramatic outbursts to frantic efforts to remain in the limelight, Reese has made headlines for all the wrong reasons. One of the most noteworthy occurrences occurred when Kennedy Carter fouled Caitlin Clark during a game. Instead of supporting her teammate, Reese stood on the bench cheering as if she were at a bizarre awards ceremony. The hunger for attention was evident, and it wasn't overlooked.
And Angel Reese knows a ring is coming.
Dan Patrick, another well-known sports broadcaster, was unreservedly critical of Reese's behavior. He pointed out that although Reese aspires to be the WNBA's Draymond Green, she is more like Dylan Brooks, a player who wants to be the instigator but ends up being a nuisance. Patrick also said that without Caitlin Clark, Reese would fade into the background since she is only significant when she is linked to Clark's achievement. It's a hard reality, but one that Reese must face if she hopes to leave her legacy.
She would have left it with what she had to say right before the last couple of words. I would have been fine with it. She's embraced the villain. She understands social media. She's done quite well. She is cashed in, literally cashed in. But her attention, her notoriety is based off Caitlin Clark. Because she wins the national title, first thing she does, she mocks Caitlin Clark. And then she doesn't even celebrate with her teammates. So she's made it personal with Caitlin Clark. Then she's played off of that. Even Caitlin Clark getting knocked down in that game on Saturday.
It is becoming more evident that jealousy and envy are at the root of this feud. Angel Reese's behaviors on and off the court imply that she is not just annoyed by Caitlin Clark's success, but also jealous of it. Every time Reese talks, there's a sense of envy, as if she can't take the fact that Clark is the one everyone is talking about. While Reese is undeniably gifted, her inability to cope with the grandeur of others is proving to be her undoing. Reese's attitude is flawed in that she is focused on Clark's achievement rather than her own. She's always trying to show that she deserves the same attention as Clark, but all she's doing is perpetuating the idea that she's living in his shadow. The more Reese attempts to remain relevant by generating drama, the more she demonstrates that she is not on Clark's level, at least not yet.
Who's standing up applauding but Angel Reese? So she's sort of embraced a Draymond Green role here. But the eyeballs on the WNBA really have to do with Caitlin Clark. Now, you might, if you stay long enough, maybe you'll see something or someone there you go, okay, I'm entertained by this. But there's nothing wrong with admitting that you watch a sport because of one singular person. People watched golf because of Tiger.
One of the most revealing instances in this rivalry occurred during a game when Kennedy Carter fouled Caitlin Clark, and Angel Reese's response screamed volumes. Instead of encouraging her teammate, Reese sat on the sidelines, cheering as if she were praising the drama. It was a moment that showed Reese's need for attention, as she seemed more concerned with stirring the pot than with focusing on the game.
Now, do I think it was assault, as the Chicago Tribune said? No, it was not. It was a hard foul. It's wrong. You don't need it in the game. And there's a lot of things that came out of that. People bringing in race. Okay, you can bring in race. Do I think everybody's jealous of Caitlin Clark? I don't. But I do think they are out to prove a point. You're not coming in and dominating our game because we are grown women and we are going to be physical with you. Now, dirty, then I have a problem with that. But you're playing tough. It's competition.
Experts like Dan Patrick and Stephen A. Smith didn't hesitate to call out Reese for her actions. Patrick pointed out that this was just another example of Reese attempting to insert herself into the narrative, but it only demonstrated how intimidated she was by Clark's success. Stephen A. Smith went even further, claiming that Reese's persistent desire for validation is getting her nowhere, and that her jealousy is becoming more apparent with each game.
WNBA has been around a couple of decades. And people didn't notice the game. They're noticing it now. Well, that's because of Caitlin Clark, not Angel Reese. Angel Reese has played a role in this, and she's a very good player. But there's nothing about her game that's really interesting that is going to translate to people who may not watch the WNBA, may not care about basketball. She is a social media star, and she has capitalized on that. And maybe she embraces being the villain. But make no mistake about it, Caitlin Clark is the reason why everybody has an opinion on what happened in that game. It's Caitlin Clark.
There is no doubt that Angel Reese is a skilled player. She's a steady double-double machine with a dominant rebounding game. But every time she comes onto the court, everyone can think about how she's stepping in Caitlin Clark's footsteps. And it's not just the media stating this. Every statistic, record, and headline shouts it out loud and clear. Reese is excellent, but Clark is exceptional, and that is what is propelling this competition to new heights.
Fagbenle tips it away and off and running. Caitlin Clark wins the pass, thread the Dynamite!
Caitlin Clark's freshman season has been nothing short of incredible. She is shattering records left and right, and she has been compared to some of the best basketball players of all time, including Michael Jordan and LeBron James. Meanwhile, Reese is over here trying to keep up, but no matter how many rebounds she gets or how many points, she can't ignore the fact that Clark is the one everyone is watching. Caitlin Clark's effect on the WNBA cannot be emphasized. She is introducing new fans to the game, increasing viewership, and demonstrating that women's basketball deserves to be regarded seriously. Her performances have garnered national notice, and she is swiftly emerging as the league's face. Clark sets a new benchmark for what is possible every time she takes the court, and people are rushing to watch her.
I think it's a little different. I think the biggest thing for myself is like this is my senior year. You know, it's special being able to celebrate this with my teammates and having them here and preparing for a Final Four game, but you know, it doesn't happen without them. It doesn't happen without the amazing coaches, and you know, to kind of end my career in this note and hopefully winning a national title would be perfect.
How do you stay focused when you go to so many things like this?
I think, you know, my main focus is on preparing for a game. I think that's pretty easy for me. I don't think you need much motivation other than you're playing in the Final Four with a trip on the national championship on the line. So
What's perhaps more surprising is how Clark has managed to rise above the controversy. While Angel Reese is immersed in off-court drama and emotional outbursts, Clark is concentrating on her game. She's not interested in the soap opera. She's here to play basketball, which is what makes her such a formidable opponent. Clark's ability to remain cool, collected, and focused distinguishes her and explains why she is stunning the WNBA.
I think just reflecting back over my 4 years is just, I'm very grateful starting and playing in front of absolutely no one during COVID, and then obviously my sophomore year we had good crowds, the curtains were down a lot of the games, and now it's impossible to get a ticket to get in the door to our games. So yeah, I think the people that have made it the most special, obviously my teammates, my coaches, but it isn't what it is without all of you. So seriously, I mean that, and I thank you. And this is special. I don't know if you guys realize what you're doing for women's basketball and women's sports in general, but you're changing it. You're helping us change it. So seriously, from the bottom of my heart, from all of us, we thank you so much.
In the end, Angel Reese's emotional outbursts, jealousy, and need for attention are her doom. While she has the potential to be a star, her inability to manage Caitlin Clark's success overshadows all she has done. If Reese wants to leave her legacy, she has to concentrate on her game rather than the drama.
With USA Today again. Caitlin, can you tell us at the end of the game what happened? There's a lot blown up on Twitter about Angel Reese following you around, pointing to her ring finger and taunting you?
honestly, I have no idea. I was just trying to get to the handshake line and shake hands and, you know, be grateful that my team was in that position. You know, that's all you can do is, you know, hold your head high, be proud of what you did, and, you know, all the credit in the world to LSU. You know, they were tremendous. They deserve it. They had a tremendous season. Kim Mulkey coached them so well. You know, she's one of the best basketball coaches of all time, and it shows. And she only said really kind things to me in the handshake line, so I'm very grateful for that too. But honestly, I have no idea, and I was just trying to, you know, spend the last few moments on the court with, especially the 5 people that I've started 93 games with, and relishing every second of that.
Caitlin Clark, on the other hand, continues to soar to new heights, leaving everyone, even Reese, stunned. Clark's ability to dominate on the court, concentrate away from it, and smash records has made her the buzz of the WNBA. And as long as Reese focuses on the drama, she'll be in Clark's shadow, unable to keep up with a player who is actually altering the game. Have you ever wondered what happens when 2 of the brightest talents in women's basketball encounter, causing a whirlwind of controversy? Today we're delving into a heated rivalry that has the basketball world buzzing. Welcome to our channel, where we discuss the latest subjects in sports and beyond. This episode focuses on the tragic breakup between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. Buckle up because this is big.
And just looking at that, like, I'll take that role. I'll take the bad guy role, and I'll continue to take that on and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, and I know I'll go down in history, I'll look back in 20 years and be like,
Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark have lately grabbed news and social media feeds. But what happens when adoration evolves into animosity? How did Angel Reese come to be blamed for purportedly disliking Caitlin Clark? So, what does this imply for the future of women's basketball? Let us break it down.
Yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that. Like, it's not just because of one person. A lot of us have done so much for this game, and Kennedy has been here before, obviously, but there are so many great players in this league that have deserved this for a really, really long time, and luckily, it's coming now.
Caitlin Clark has been a sensation in women's basketball. It was obvious from the minute she went onto the court that she was extraordinary. Clark's incredible skill and thrilling performances have smashed records and revolutionized what a player can do.
1.5 seconds left. How did you get open, first of all?
That's a play we work on every single day in practice, and to be honest, our first look was to get a layup at the rim because we knew they had to make a call, but I kept the ball, got to go up, but honestly, I make that in practice, so when we were in the huddle, that's what I was.
Clark's ascent to fame has been nothing short of spectacular. Her performance in the NCAA tournament when she guided Iowa to the title game was a showcase for athleticism and talent. Clark's ability to score from any spot on the floor, paired with her remarkable playmaking abilities, has garnered her praise and admiration from fans and commentators alike.
Honestly, I thought it was money, so when I saw it go through the rim, I was excited, but when I'm in here working by myself, those are the situations you put yourself in, and to be able to do it for this team on senior day against the #2 team in the country, it meant a lot, so to our seniors more than anything.
Clark's strategic intellect, in addition to her scoring skill, distinguishes her. Observing her play is like watching a chess grandmaster. She is always thinking about several moves ahead. Her knowledge of the game's complexities and ability to predict her opponent's movements make her a genuine game changer. Her extraordinary court vision enables her to execute plays that others may not see coming, and her accuracy in completing those plays has earned her a fan following and made her a nightmare for defenders.
It's special being able to celebrate this with my teammates and having them here and preparing for a Final Four game, but it doesn't happen without them. It doesn't happen without the amazing coaches, and to kind of end my career in this note and hopefully winning a national title would be perfect.
How do you stay focused when you go to so many things like this?
I think, my main focus is on preparing for a game. I think that's pretty easy for me. I don't think you need much motivation other than you're playing in the Final Four with a trip on the national championship on the line. So thanks.
According to her coaches and colleagues, Clark's commitment to her art is unmatched. She spends endless hours watching game footage, practicing her shot, and perfecting her talents. Her work ethic and dedication to perfection have not only advanced her game, but also established a benchmark for aspiring players worldwide. Her effect on the court is mirrored by her off-court leadership, in which she encourages and pushes her colleagues to push themselves.
We're in the huddle, that's what I was envisioning. We never stop believing, that's what our group's about. So, that was every single person. It doesn't come down to just that play. I'm glad I could step up, though.
On the opposite end of the court, we have Angel Reese. Reese is definitely a skilled player with enormous potential. Her physique and skill level make her a tough opponent. However, recent performances have been a roller coaster ride and not necessarily in a positive manner. Reese's latest game against the New York Liberty was an especially harsh blow. Despite her desire to have a huge effect, she was dismissed from the game, leaving supporters and onlookers surprised. This was just one of the problems she had recently experienced. Over the previous 5 games, her shooting percentage has dropped to just 29%. This is a sharp contrast to her normal high-quality performance, raising questions about her present form. One of the issues leading to Reese's difficulty seems to be her shooting technique, her unorthodox shooting technique, in which she fires from her shoulder rather than eye level, may be affecting her consistency. It's like attempting to strike a bullseye with your eyes closed. Occasionally effective, but not consistent. Coaches and pundits believe that refining her shooting form will be critical to her future success.
I think so many people are watching women's basketball right now. It all started from the national championship game, and I've been dealing with this for 2 years now.
Interviews with Reese's coaches and analysts show that she is aware of her issues and is actively striving to resolve them. The pressure to perform at a high level regularly is enormous, and Reese's desire to overcome these obstacles is admirable. Her coaches are certain that with sustained hard work and adjustments to her technique, Reese will recover her form and remain a powerful force on the court. So where does enmity come into play? The difference between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark has emphasized their particular abilities while also sparking a passionate discussion. Reese and Clark have been frequently compared, and the comparison seems to be causing some tension. The media frenzy surrounding the two athletes has fueled their animosity. Fans and critics often put them against one another, sparking controversy. Reese, who has endured hurdles and criticism, finds the frequent comparison to Clark's achievement discouraging.
But honestly, I'll take that because look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball. People are pulling up to games. We got celebrities coming to games, sold out arenas, like just because of one single game.
Social media has played an important role in escalating the conflict. Twitter, Instagram, and other platforms have been buzzing with talk about the rivalry. Fans have chosen sides, with some supporting Reese and others supporting Clark. This internet discussion has only increased the strain and scrutiny on both participants. The response against Reese has been fierce, with many accusing her of harboring bad thoughts towards Clark despite her difficulties. The story has grown more complicated, with public opinions often impacted by the continuous drama and media representation. Sports commentators have chimed in, providing a variety of viewpoints on the disagreement. Some say that the media's focus on the rivalry hurts both players and the sport as a whole. Others argue that drama provides excitement and interest, but it may also reinforce negative storylines. Statements from prominent basketball personalities have fueled the dispute. Cheryl Swoopes, a WNBA great, made news when she failed to include Clark in her latest podcast about the Indiana Fever. Many saw this absence as a slur against Clark, sparking more debate.
Here's what Cheryl Swoopes had to say. Look at this quote here. I think the Olympic break really helped Indiana. I'm going to shout out to Lexi Hull. I'm a big Lexi Hull fan. Lexi Hull shot the leather off the ball in their game against Seattle. Kelsey Mitchell is just stroking. She's just shooting the basketball. Aaliyah Boston, almost a triple-double. If Indiana continues to play the way they're playing like this, they too are going to move up in the standings, end quote.
Swoopes discussed various players and teams on her podcast, but she should have mentioned Caitlin Clark. Fans or commentators did not overlook this absence. Some saw it as a deliberate snub, sparking suspicion about underlying tensions and prejudices. Stephen A. Smith, renowned for his outspoken comments, chimed in on the subject, expressing his displeasure with Swoopes' statements. Smith said that Swoopes' unwillingness to recognize Clark's achievements was deliberate and unjust. His remarks fueled an already heated debate, with Smith emphasizing the need to recognize and appreciate all of the sport's greatest performers.
There seems to be some haterade in the league in regards to Clark, starting with WNBA legend Cheryl Swoopes herself. She recently spoke on her podcast, Queens of the Court, and didn't mention the rookie when speaking of Indiana's rise in the standings.
The criticism of Swoopes, as well as the greater conversation concerning Clark and Reese, have highlighted not just the players' relationships, but also fundamental concerns inside the WNBA. Clark is surrounded by a palpable tension, which is fueled in part by her spectacular ascent and the attention it brings. Caitlin Clark's impact goes beyond her on-court accomplishments. Her presence has dramatically increased viewership and interest in the WNBA. Clark's vibrant production and fascinating plot established new attendance and engagement records.
And that's Caitlin Clark herself of the WNBA. Let's get to the WNBA and this sensational rookie from the Indiana Fever who continues to be box office. Clark and the Fever currently lead the WNBA in average game attendance and per game TV viewership. But despite the attendance and viewership records,
Clark's games have become must-watch events, attracting enormous viewers and creating tremendous hype. Her ability to thrive under pressure and generate highlight reel moments has captivated spectators and drawn new attention to the league. The increase in viewing shows the rising popularity of women's basketball and the role of elite players such as Clark in promoting that development. Shannon Sharp has commended Clark for her ability to attract audiences and encourage new admirers. Sharp's delight reflects a greater admiration for Clark's contributions to the sport and her involvement in raising the WNBA's visibility. His words highlight Clark's beneficial influence on the league and the sport in general.
Had another monster game. She had 28 points, 12 assists, and a 193 win over the Dallas Wings today that pushed the Indiana Fever over 500 for the first time in 5 years. The Fever improved to 17-16 with a victory.
Aside from the court, Clark has been active in a variety of community programs and events. Her interaction with fans and commitment to making a difference off the court boost her reputation and impact. Clark's dedication to using her platform for good exemplifies the positive impact athletes can have on society. The matchup between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark is more than just two players. It represents a larger story in women's basketball, reflecting themes of empowerment, resilience, and the challenges that athletes face in the spotlight.
In 89 straight games without a winning record, a WNBA record Indiana earned the win despite a record-tying 9 3-pointers by Enrique Ogunbowale.
Symbols of the sport's changing landscape. Clark's success exemplifies the limitless possibilities that emerge when talent and opportunity combine. On the other hand, Reese's struggles highlight the difficulties that even the best players face and the importance of resilience in overcoming adversity. Their stories highlight the ups and downs of athletic careers and the perseverance required for success. Young players look up to Reese and Clark as role models. Their travels inspire the next generation of athletes who view their challenges and victories as part of their potential path. Their experiences have an influence not just on the field, but also on aspiring players and spectators. The future of women's basketball is bright yet tough. With increased viewership and endorsements, athletes like Clark and Reese have a chance to define the sport's future. However, they are also under intense pressure to perform and preserve their public personalities.
That's all you can do is, hold your head high, be proud of what you did, and, all the credit in the world to LSU. They were tremendous. They deserve it. They had a tremendous season. Kim Mulkey coached them so well. She's one of the best basketball coaches of all time, and it shows. And she only said really kind things to me in the handshake line, so I'm very grateful for that too. But honestly, I have no idea, and I was just trying to, spend the last few moments on the court with, especially the 5 people that I've started 93 games with, and relishing every second of that.
New leagues like Unrivaled are forming, offering to shake up the scene even more. These leagues provide new opportunities and platforms for players, potentially altering the dynamics of women's basketball. As Clark continues to dominate the WNBA, concerns emerge about whether she would seek options outside the league. Her effect on the sport might lead to new avenues and possibilities, but her dedication to the WNBA remains a matter of inquiry. The creation of new leagues and the expansion of established ones represent the evolving landscape of women's basketball. As more players achieve prominence and the sport continues to expand, the competition and possibilities will only rise. Players like Clark and Reese will play crucial roles in molding the future of the game, both on and off the court.
Thinks that we're at each other, but me and her know, and that's all that matters. I don't care about anything that's negative. When you know the person and you know that what their genuine intentions are, and just being able to know that we did something big, and just being able to know we grew women's basketball within that, and that's all that matters. And we play against each other again, we're going to compete again and always have fun after. So I'm just having fun, just being competitive as I always have.
The media has an important influence in creating popular opinions and narratives about athletics. The way tales are told may shape how athletes are seen and affect their careers. The media's attention on the competition between Clark and Reese has led to the continuing dispute. Headlines and news segments focusing on the conflict between Clark and Reese have heightened the drama, often overshadowing their accomplishments and contributions to the sport. The media's focus on conflict and competitiveness may lead to a polarized view of the players, affecting their public image. According to media analysts, how athletes are portrayed in the media frequently reflects larger cultural trends and interests. While interest in rivalries and scandals may increase viewing and engagement, it can also distract from the good parts of athletes' careers and successes. Individual player stress may have an impact on team chemistry as well. While Reese and Clark's rivalry is personal, it has the potential to impact the climate inside their respective teams. Coaches and teammates often have to negotiate these relationships while remaining focused on the team's ultimate objectives.
How misconceived is your relationship with Caitlin Clark?
Say it again?
Misconceived. How misconceived?
Oh, I love Caitlin. I mean, we were just talking about that. Me and her have always been competing each other since we were in high school and just AAU days. I mean, I love that. And hopefully one day we can even be teammates and just understand that she's a great player, a great person, a great shooter. And I just love everything that she's doing for the game and what we both were able to do for the game as well.
How cool was it to see her come to bat for you?
Yeah.
After the
Coaches and teammates play critical roles in mitigating the impact of external controversies on team performance. Their assistance and guidance are critical in keeping players focused and fostering a positive team environment. The ability to manage personal conflicts and channel them into positive team dynamics can be a critical factor in success. Despite the external turbulence, Reese and Clark continue to make major contributions to their teams. Their performances and leadership on the court are still important to their teams.
I think just reflecting back over my 4 years I'm very grateful starting and playing in front of absolutely no one during COVID, and then obviously my sophomore year we had good crowds, the curtains were down a lot of the games, and now it's impossible to get a ticket to get in the door to our games. So, I think The people that have made it the most special, obviously my teammates, my coaches, but it isn't what it is without all of you. So seriously, I mean that, and I thank you. And this is special. I don't know if you guys realize what you're doing for women's basketball and women's sports in general, but you're changing it. You're helping us change it. So seriously, from the bottom of my heart, from all of us, we thank you so much. And I just feel really grateful to be here, and I put on an Iowa jersey for 4 years. But like Coach Bluder and Kate said, like, there's still so much more fun to have, and we're not done.
There is.
Balancing personal rivalry with team objectives is a continuous task that demands perseverance and professionalism. The situation involving Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark has broader implications for women's sports. Female athletes' visibility and scrutiny highlight ongoing challenges and opportunities for women in sports.
Thinks that we're at each other, but me and her know, and that's all that matters. I don't care about anything that's negative. When you know the person and you know that what their genuine intentions are, and just being able to know that we did something big, and just being able to know we grew women's basketball, but then that's all that matters. And we play against each other again. We're going to compete again and always have fun after. So I'm just having fun, just being competitive as I always have.
Female athletes have made considerable progress in recent years, completing astounding feats and receiving widespread acclaim. However, issues including gender prejudice, media portrayal, and uneven opportunity continue. The emphasis on particular rivalry may often conceal the larger concerns confronting women in sports. Interviews with female athletes and campaigners emphasize the necessity of tackling larger concerns and creating positive change. Advocates also emphasize the need for continuous support and acknowledgement of women's accomplishments and attempts to enhance representation and equality in athletics. In conclusion, the conflict between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark is a microcosm of the bigger story in women's basketball. Their different journeys illustrate the intricacies of the sport and the hardships encountered by competitors at the top level. As Clark continues to make headlines and Reese strives to overcome her challenges, their tales show the dynamic and growing character of women's basketball.
Caitlin, can you tell us at the end of the game what happened? There's a lot blown up on Twitter about Angel Reese following you around, pointing to her ring finger and taunting you?
Honestly, I have no idea. I was just trying to get to the handshake line and shake hands and, be grateful that my team was in that position.
What are your thoughts on the conflict between Reese and Clark? How do you see their rivalry shaping the future of women's basketball? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more updates on the world of sports. Hit the bell button never to miss a new video. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for our next video where we'll discuss the most recent developments and hot topics in sports. See you next time. Ever wonder how a single player can transform a whole league? That is precisely what is occurring in the WNBA today with the rise of Caitlin Clark. Clark, known for her tremendous shooting range and creative playmaking skills, has enthralled spectators while also forcing experienced coaches like Cheryl Reeve to reconsider their plans. This film dives into Caitlin Clark's enormous influence on the WNBA, the strategic reactions of coaches, notably Cheryl Reeve, and the league-wide ripple effects.
I think just reflecting back over my 4 years I'm very grateful, starting and playing in front of absolutely no one during COVID, and then obviously my sophomore year we had good crowds, the curtains were down a lot of the games, and now it's impossible to get a ticket to get in the door to our games. So yeah, I think the people that have made it the most special, obviously my teammates, my coaches, but it isn't what it is without all of you. So seriously, I mean that, and I thank you. And this is special. I don't know if you guys realize what you're doing for women's basketball and women's sports in general, but you're changing it. You're helping us change it. So seriously, from the bottom of my heart, from all of us, we thank you so much. And I just feel really grateful to be here, and I put on an Iowa jersey for 4 years. But like Coach Bluder and Kate said, like, there's still so much more fun to have, and we're not done.
There is.
Caitlin Clark rose to national prominence as a superb college basketball player, attracting parallels to some of the game's best shooters, male and female. Her extraordinary ability to make deep three-pointers with astonishing efficiency earned her a household name even before she stepped onto a WNBA floor. But it wasn't only her shooting that drew fans in. Her court vision, speed, and leadership abilities made her the whole package.
That's Caitlin Clark herself of the WNBA. Let's get to the WNBA and this sensational rookie from the Indiana Fever who continues to be box office. Clark and the Fever currently lead the WNBA in average game attendance and per game TV viewership. But despite the attendance and viewership records, There seems to be some haterade in the league in regards to Clark starting with WNBA legend Cheryl Swoopes herself.
Clark's transfer to the WNBA was met with great hopes. Fans and commentators alike questioned how her game would transition to the professional level and whether she could retain her supremacy against the world's greatest defenders. The response was swift and emphatic. Caitlin Clark was not only capable of playing in the WNBA, but also destined to become one of its most prominent stars.
I think it's more of, the official announcement has not been made by USA Basketball, so it'd be premature for me to have any conversations about any player or anything until I see that announcement.
Cheryl Reeve, head coach of the Minnesota Lynx, is generally recognized as one of the best coaches in the WNBA. With many victories under her belt, Reeve has established a reputation for strategic savvy and the ability to get the most out of her players. However, the entrance of Caitlin Clark posed a distinct difficulty. Reeve's original technique was careful observation. She knew Clark was a player who could alter the course of a game on his own, but she wasn't ready to adjust her whole strategy for one rookie. Instead, she concentrated on her team's strengths, believing that their combined expertise and ability would be sufficient to offset Clark's genius.
Yeah, we haven't seen him a lot, I'll say that. What I have seen, and coming into the season, watching her in college, I said the single best thing that she does that young players don't do is she plays at an incredible pace. And pace can get you really, really far. And there's great value in that. Pace and passing, I think, are her two greatest things. I know the sexier part is probably the logo 3, but the pace and the passing is what makes her exceptional in my mind. The importance of the W, you're all standing here. I don't think it's just for Maya Moore's jersey into the rafters. At least I hope some of you are here for that. But every city that she's in, I thought it was really cool her senior year of college to see that take hold. It wasn't just the Iowa fans. It wasn't just a sold out Carver. She became a road show. And I don't know that, and I don't want to slight anybody in college, but I don't remember seeing that in my time.
However, as the season went on, it became evident that Clark was more than simply a brilliant player. She was a game changer. In a league where every possession matters, Reeve had to adjust fast or risk being outplayed by a rookie on the rise. The WNBA All-Star Game is often seen as a showcase game, with the league's greatest players coming together to entertain fans and promote the sport. However, Cheryl Reeve saw this year's All-Star Game as a wake-up call. As Clark sparkled on the court, piling up assists and draining long-range shots, Reeve saw she needed to reconsider her strategy.
Yeah, if you can promise me that's how it's going to work out this time, I can tell you it was very positive tonight. I think first it would be really short-sighted of me if I don't take a moment and recognize what a great game it was, what a great environment, fun for people to watch, and we have work to do, right? And we know that.
Until then, Reeve had been focused on limiting Clark, inventing defensive strategies to restrict her influence. However, the All-Star Game demonstrated that Clark was more than simply a player who could be shut down. She was able to dominate the pace of the game. Reeve required a new strategy, one that recognized Clark's special abilities and aimed to neutralize them without jeopardizing her own team's strengths.
Sometimes it's good that, obviously the adversity, etc. I don't think we needed a game like this to have our attention per se. We know how hard it is to do what we're trying to do, and we just have work to do to get there.
Following the All-Star Game, Cheryl Reeve took a daring choice that surprised many. She accepted Caitlin Clark's challenge. Rather than seeing Clark as a danger, Reeve came to see her as an opportunity, a chance to put her coaching skills to the test and drive her squad to greater heights.
I asked Diana Taurasi's agent point blank, can you point me to anything positive she's ever said about Caitlin Clark? Never heard back, gave the agent a week to reply. And both of those women are on the team. I'm not saying that anyone in particular is doing this, but as a journalist, it is my job to try to figure out what happened. This is a huge decision. It will continue to reverberate all the way to Paris.
Reeve changed her plan, going away from solely defensive tactics and towards a more balanced approach that capitalized on her team's strengths while appreciating Clark's capabilities. She emphasized speed and ball movement, recognizing that the best approach to defeat a player like Clark was to outplay her rather than restrict her. This change in approach paid off. The Lynx started to play with a renewed sense of purpose, moving the ball fast and effectively while attacking flaws in their opponent's defenses. Reeve's desire to adapt and grow as a coach not only helped her team's play, but also highlighted her ability to keep up with a fast-evolving league. Beyond the on-court ramifications, Caitlin Clark has influenced the WNBA's commercial side. Her popularity has improved attention and attendance, making her an important asset to the league as a whole. Teams that face Clark and the Indiana Fever are witnessing an increase in ticket sales, and Clark's games are routinely among the most watched.
Caitlin Clark, WNBA Rookie of the Month, packing arenas while averaging 17 and 6 assists. That's not enough to make the Olympic roster. Caitlin gets snubbed.
Okay, I implore once again all of my colleagues to please take a breath before these conversations, because the Caitlin Clark conversation is in the process of jumping over into the political realm, and it's going to get even grosser.
Cheryl Reeve, ever the strategist, spotted an opportunity here as well. She saw that the excitement around Clark could help both her club and the league as a whole. By accepting the challenge of facing Clark, Reeve established the Lynx as one of the league's must-see teams, attracting fans eager to see how her team would do against the league's newest star. Reeve's approach also emphasizes the larger commercial factors involved in professional sports. It's not only about winning games, it's about establishing a brand and developing a product that people want to interact with. By facing the Clark issue straight on, Reeve not only enhanced her team's performance, but also helped raise the WNBA's prominence at a critical point in its development.
There have been someone who might end up being a vice presidential nominee, not Aaron Rodgers, was out here tweeting today, damn near demanding an investigation about why she wasn't on there. What? I bet Wilds, we'll see if I'm right, that there will be a Caitlin Clark related question at a White House press conference this week, because this has become culture war, because everything God knows must be culture war.
As Caitlin Clark's fame rose, so did the media's scrutiny of her. Analysts and fans analyzed and scrutinized every move she made and shot she took. This obsessive attention caused a difficult dynamic for people around her, particularly Cheryl Reeve.
But despite the attendance and viewership records, there seems to be some haterade in the league in regards to Clark, starting with WNBA legend Cheryl Swoopes herself. She recently spoke on her podcast, Queens of the Court.
Reeve found herself in a tough situation. On the one hand, she needed to retain her reputation as a great coach who could lead her team to victory over any opponent. On the other side, she had to strike the delicate balance between complimenting Clark's abilities and coming out as too subservient or dismissive. This balancing task was compounded by the larger media environment, in which every statement or action may be perceived in a variety of ways.
When in reality, I think there is totally legitimate arguments, and I rarely feel this way, on both sides of this. I think if you want to say she is not good enough yet, that's fair. The numbers would say she's probably not. She's not good enough yet, and it's the Olympic team, and giving her a spot takes one away from someone else. It is also totally legitimate to say we roll in the Olympics every year. We can afford having, someone who's the 20th best or 24th best instead of the 12th best because of what it would potentially do to grow the game. That's legitimate.
But I don't necessarily know that this team is going to be, the team that changes things. I think we're continuing to, be on that upward trajectory, and this team has absolutely been a part of that.
Reeve's dealings with the media became a tightrope dance as she attempted to give meaningful insight while avoiding words that may be misinterpreted or taken out of context. Reeve's coaching knowledge and calmness were helpful in this situation. She saw the significance of controlling the narrative and creating a public image in ways that benefited both her club and the league. By carefully regulating her statements and actions, Reeve was able to preserve her reputation and keep the spotlight on the game rather than any possible drama or controversy. The Caitlin Clark phenomenon is more than simply a WNBA tale. It's about the future of women's basketball in general. Clark's success has highlighted the women's game, attracting new spectators and raising the sport's prominence. Her impact goes beyond the WNBA, motivating young girls all around the nation to pick up a basketball and dream of playing at the greatest level.
We just had breaking news just a few minutes ago. Caitlin Clark not making the Olympic team despite leading all rookies in points and assists. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, you know, obviously broken news. I've got to look at the roster to see who they picked to be on the team, but I would imagine they leaned on veterans. And while Caitlin has had an incredible season,
this increased focus has also resulted in increased investment in women's basketball, with more funds going into player development, marketing, and media coverage. As a consequence, the WNBA's level of play is better than ever, with more skillful and athletic players joining the league each season. For Cheryl Reeve and other coaches, this means the competition will only become stronger. However, it also means that the WNBA is entering a thrilling new age, with the league's talent and exposure at all-time highs. The challenge for Reeve and her colleagues will be to continue to develop and adapt while keeping up with the quickly changing world of women's basketball.
physicality of Olympic basketball, the physicality of FIBA basketball is taken to an entirely new level. Just looking at that roster right away, looks like they leaned into veterans and veteran experience and efficiency when it comes to scoring. So that's my quick take on it, but I've got to dive deep into it.
Yeah, we know that Caitlin Clark is a great player and she will probably be great in the WNBA, but just like you said, you know the veterans, you know what you're going to get on that team.
And you know what else we know? We know Caitlin will have plenty of opportunities to make Olympic rosters.
As Cheryl Reeve navigates the hurdles given by Caitlin Clark and the new generation of talent joining the WNBA, her legacy as a coach becomes stronger. Reeve has always been regarded as one of the greatest in her field, but her capacity to adapt and flourish in the face of new obstacles is what really distinguishes her.
You know, it's been happening, you know, prior even to this team. This momentum, this wave, you know, that we're feeling, it has been sort of this kind of journey for women's basketball to get the attention that it is, you know, getting at this point. So I think we mirror what's happening, you know, obviously in the WNBA. And, you know, I think hopefully this team can uphold, you know, sort of the culture and the level of success and compete.
Reeve's desire to take on the Clark challenge, adapt her coaching tactics, and participate in the media and commercial elements of the game proves her dedication to the WNBA's development and success. She recognizes that the league is at a crucial crossroads, and her decisions as a coach and leader will have long-term consequences. At the same time, Reeve's work is helping to prepare the next generation of coaches and players. By establishing a high bar for quality and creativity, she inspires others to push the limits of what is possible in women's basketball. Her legacy will be defined not just by the titles she has won, but also by the enduring impact she has had on the sport as a whole. In many ways, Caitlin Clark symbolizes a watershed moment for the WNBA. Her entrance has produced a surge of enthusiasm and interest in the league, attracting new spectators and increasing the sport's prominence. However, her effect extends beyond the stats. She is a change agent, pushing coaches, players, and league officials to reconsider their plans and approaches.
And obviously my sophomore year we had good crowds, the curtains were down a lot of the games, and now it's impossible to get a ticket to get in the door to our games. So yeah, I think the people that have made it the most special, obviously my teammates, my coaches, but it isn't what it is without all of you. So seriously, I mean that, and I thank you. And this is special. I don't know if you guys realize what you're doing for women's basketball and women's sports in general, but you're changing it. You're helping us change it. So seriously, from the bottom of my heart, from all of us.
For Cheryl Reeve, this has included pushing outside of her comfort zone, questioning her own preconceptions, and welcoming new ideas. It has included acknowledging that the game is changing, and that traditional methods of doing things may no longer be enough. However, it has also included seeing the possibility for development and advancement and grabbing the chance to be a part of that transformation. The Caitlin Clark impact is more than just one player. It represents a bigger revolution of the WNBA and women's basketball. It's about the sport's ability to reach new heights, inspire a new generation of fans and players, and establish itself as a great sporting superpower. As we look to the future of the WNBA, it's evident that the league is on the verge of something extraordinary, with players like Caitlin Clark leading the way and coaches like Cheryl Reeve pushing the limits of what is possible. The WNBA is primed for a new age of expansion and success, but with expansion come new problems. The league will need to continue to develop and adapt to attract spectators and maintain the highest quality of play. Coaches like Reeve will play an important part in this process, guiding their teams and the league as a whole into this exciting new era.
We thank you so much, and I just feel really grateful to be here, and I've put on an Iowa jersey for 4 years, but like Coach Bluder and Kate said, like there's still so much more fun to have, and we're not done.
There is.
I think it's easy, like these people are my best friends, and like that's not for show. Like I seriously know, like I'm not me without all of them, and they've had my back, and they do a lot of dirty work for me to be able to have the fun and take crazy shots, and they hold me accountable, but more than anything, like they're my best friends off the court, and I think that's why we thrive on the court and have so much fun together. And more than anything, I know these girls are going to be my best friends for the rest of my life, and really that's all that matters to me. I don't really care if we win another game. It's just having these people in my life for forever.
Finally, the Caitlin Clark effect is about more than basketball. It is about sports' ability to inspire, challenge, and unite people. As we watch the WNBA expand and flourish, we can be certain that women's basketball has a better future than ever before, owing in large part to the amazing abilities and efforts of players like Caitlin Clark and coaches like Cheryl Reeve.
That's a dream, hopefully one day I can be there, and I think it's just a little more motivation. We remember that, and hopefully in 4 years, when 4 years comes back around, I can be there.
Did you have a direct conversation with managing director or whoever over there at USAB recently?
Yeah, they called me and let me know, and before everything came out, which was really respectful of them, and I appreciated that. And they did the same for every girl that made the team or every girl that didn't make the team. There's a lot of players in the Olympic pool, so it wasn't like I was the only one they had to call. They had to make quite a few calls.
If you like this in-depth look into Caitlin Clark's impact on the WNBA, please subscribe to our channel for more informative information on the latest in sports. Remember to share your comments on how Caitlin Clark is altering the game, as well as your predictions for the WNBA's future. Thank you for watching. In the ever-evolving world of athletics, few names have risen as swiftly and as forcefully as Caitlin Clark. For those unfamiliar with the complexities of women's basketball, it could be easy to ignore the revolutionary influence she's had on the game. But for those who have seen her perform, there's no disputing that Caitlin Clark is more than simply a rising star. She's a phenomenon. To those who argue the contrary, the issue remains, if not Caitlin Clark, then who would you want to launch your brand with?
Seattle Storm, here's Clark. Clark looking to take it around Lloyd. Clark bodies in and finishes.
That's one of the things that Caitlin Clark has done really well throughout the course of those last 10 games is going to her right side, being physical and finishing even with contact.
Clark, what a pass, hit stride, and hold.
The dispute between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese has become a heated subject in basketball circles. Angel Reese is clearly a skilled player, a force to be reckoned with on the court. However, when put opposite Caitlin Clark, the comparison becomes problematic. Clark's effect on the game goes well beyond her stats. Her leadership, court vision, and ability to execute under pressure distinguished her from her colleagues.
Well executed play by the Fever.
Clark the steal, Mitchell the knockaway, Clark's three, it's good.
Angel Reese has had a terrible few days, with setbacks that have left her in a precarious situation. Despite a strong statistical performance in a recent blowout defeat to the Phoenix Mercury, Reese is suffering the price for comparing her brand too closely to Caitlin Clark's. While Reese's brilliance is apparent, her choice to compare herself to Clark could have cost her dearly. Angel Reese has had a difficult time recently, with rejection coming from unexpected places. First, coach Cheryl Reeve made it apparent that Reese needed to be added to her radar. Despite Reese's obvious potential, Reeve chose to pass on her during the draft, a decision that has sparked heated debate. Reeve's decision to reject Reese was motivated by more than simply skill. It was also about fit, team relationships, and maybe personal prejudices.
I think so many people are watching women's basketball right now. It all started from the national championship game, and I've been dealing with this for 2 years now. And understanding, negative things have probably been said about me, but honestly, I'll take that because look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball. People are pulling up to games. We got celebrities coming to games, sold out arenas, just because of one single game.
The second rejection came from Caitlin Clark herself. Clark, who has been on a roll lately, appeared to distance herself from the comparison to Reese, instead focusing on her own game. Clark's recent performances have been nothing short of spectacular, dominating teams like the Seattle Storm and developing players like Kelsey Mitchell and Lexi Hall. Angel Reese's on-court struggles have become more apparent as she continues to deal with comparisons to Caitlin Clark. Despite being a great rebounder and energy player, Reese has struggled to live up to the expectations set by her relationship with Clark. In her last few games, Reese has struggled with her shooting only 29% from the field, which does not reflect her talent.
And just looking at that, like, I'll take that role. I'll take the bad guy role, and I'll continue to take that on and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, and I know I'll go down in history, I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that. Like, it's not just because of one person. A lot of us have done so much for this game, and Kennedy has been here before, obviously, but there are so many great players in this league that have deserved this for a really, really long time, and luckily, it's coming now.
Reese's attachment to Caitlin Clark's brand has overshadowed her accomplishments. If she hadn't been compared to Clark, Reese might have been praised for her defensive abilities and energy on the court. However, as things stand, the comparisons have only served to highlight the difference between the two players. In an unexpected twist, Angel Reese's attempt to sign French Olympic star Gabby Williams to her team has also failed. Gabby Williams, noted for her defensive skills, just signed with the Seattle Storm, leaving Reese scrambling. Williams, who had been practicing with the French national team, decided to return to the WNBA and join the Storm, who had acquired her in a trade with the LA Sparks in 2022.
Yeah, America is not the entire world. I know there's some people in a certain place that need to hear that. But yes, America's not the whole world. I'm coming even later this time, which I didn't think was possible. I'm gonna keep pushing it, but no, I'm not.
Williams is no stranger to success, having been a starter in every game during a previous season, averaging 7.5 points and 5 rebounds. Her all-around skills earned her a spot on the all-defensive second team, helping the Storm make it to the WNBA semifinals. Her decision to join the Storm over teaming up with Reese is another blow to the Chicago Sky rookie. The debate over who deserves the Rookie of the Year title has been ongoing, with Caitlin Clark's name often at the forefront. However, Angel Reese has also been part of this conversation, albeit with less conviction. While Reese's energy and rebounding skills are commendable, her offensive struggles have made it difficult for her to be seen as a true contender for the title.
I think just reflecting back over my 4 years is just, I'm very grateful starting and playing in front of absolutely no one during COVID. And then obviously my sophomore year, we had good crowds. The curtains were down a lot of the games, and now it's impossible to get a ticket to get in the door to our games. So, yeah. I think the people that have made it the most special, obviously my teammates, my coaches, but it isn't what it is without all of you. So seriously, I mean that, and I thank you. And this is special. I don't know if you guys realize what you're doing for women's basketball and women's sports in general, but you're changing it. You're helping us change it. So seriously, from the bottom of my heart, from all of us, we thank you so much.
Reese's awkward left-handed shot, which she shoots from her shoulder rather than at eye level, has been a point of criticism. Despite her efforts to improve her mid-range game, Reese has yet to develop into the dynamic offensive player she aspires to be. The comparisons to Caitlin Clark have only heightened the pressure on Reese, making it even harder for her to find her footing in the WNBA. While Angel Reese struggles to find her rhythm, Caitlin Clark continues to dominate the court. Clark's recent performances have been nothing short of amazing, demonstrating her range and brilliance. Whether it's schooling the Seattle Storm or taking down the Phoenix Mercury, Clark has shown again and again why she's regarded as one of the finest in the game.
Yeah, she did wear the villain role on her sleeve, no doubt about that. She didn't do a lot to help herself when she was winning the NCAA championship last year against Iowa, and she was taunting Caitlin Clark.
Clark's effect extends beyond only her scoring ability. Her court vision, passing, and leadership make her a complete player, one who can alter the course of a game single-handedly. As the Rookie of the Year argument rages on, Clark's regular performances make it more tough to argue against her candidacy. Cheryl Reeve, head coach of the Minnesota Lynx and Team USA, has been the subject of criticism regarding her judgments concerning Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. Reeve's choice to pass on Reese during the selection aroused questions, particularly especially given the disappointing performance of the player she did take. Reeve's argument for rejecting Reese appears to derive from a conviction that Reese wouldn't mix well with the team's approach.
Yeah, you know, obviously broken news. I've got to look at the roster to see who they picked to be on the team, but I would imagine they leaned on veterans. And while Caitlin has had an incredible season, I don't know if there's going to be a rookie on this roster. So if we look here,
Reeve's decisions haven't been limited to the WNBA draft. As the head coach of Team USA, Reeve also played a role in selecting the Olympic roster. Caitlin Clark, despite her impressive performances, was left off the roster, a decision that has sparked much debate. Some have hypothesized that Reeve's selections may be impacted by personal prejudices, especially considering her participation with the LGBTQ+ community. As Caitlin Clark continues to make waves in the WNBA, curiosity surrounding her future only grows. One of the most hotly debated topics is Clark's potential involvement in the Unrivaled League, a new league founded by Brianna Stewart and Nafiza Collier. The Unrivaled League, based on 3v3 basketball, allows players to play during the WNBA's summer and earn six-figure wages.
And again, we cannot understate the timing of this with the media rights deal being up next year, how she has completely driven eyeballs to the women's game this year, not only for Iowa games, but we've seen it across the women's college landscape. She is vitally important.
Clark's potential involvement in the Unrivaled League has sparked much debate. While the league provides exciting opportunities, it is still being determined whether they align with Clark's preferences. Critics have questioned the Unrivaled League's motivations, particularly given its owner's previous lack of support for specific players. The Unrivaled League marks a new era in women's basketball with a one-of-a-kind model that has the potential to transform the sport. However, it is not without controversy. The league's framework, which revolves around 3v3 basketball, may appeal to only some players, notably Caitlin Clark, who excels in conventional 5v5 games. The league's timing, which coincided with the expiry of television rights agreements, has sparked speculation regarding its purpose. Some have speculated that the league's owners may be looking to capitalize on the increased visibility of women's basketball, driven in part by players like Caitlin Clark. However, there are concerns that the league's focus on branding and financial incentives might detract from the sport's integrity.
and efficiency when it comes to scoring. So that's my quick take on it, but I've got to dive deep into it.
Yeah, we know that Caitlin Clark is a great player, and she will probably be great in the WNBA, but just like you said, you know the veterans, you know what you're going to get on that team.
Caitlin Clark's effect on women's basketball cannot be emphasized. Her accomplishments have not only boosted her career, but have also drawn more attention to the sport as a whole. Clark's ability to attract in spectators and inspire passion around women's basketball has made her a significant role in the game's development. As the WNBA and other leagues grow, women like Caitlin Clark will play an important part in determining the sport's future. Whether she decides to continue in the WNBA, join the Unrivaled League, or seek other possibilities, Clark's impact will be felt for years to come. While Caitlin Clark's career continues to grow, Angel Reese's path has been plagued by hardships and failures. Despite these hurdles, Reese has shown tremendous perseverance. Her ability to bounce back from rejection and criticism speaks to her strength as a player and a person.
We roll in the Olympics every year. We can afford having, someone who's the 20th best or 24th best instead of the 12th best, because of what it would potentially do to grow the game.
Reese's decision to focus on her mid-range game and face-up shots demonstrates her desire to improve. While she may not be on the same level as Caitlin Clark, Reese's potential is undeniable. Reese has the potential to make a name for herself in the WNBA as her skills improve. Coaches like Cheryl Reeve help shape the careers of players like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Reeve's decisions, both in the WNBA and at the Olympics, have had a significant impact on these players' careers. Her choices, whether motivated by team dynamics, personal biases, or other factors, have sparked intense debate in the basketball community. Coaches' influence extends beyond game strategy. They play an important role in the development of players' abilities, mental toughness, and overall career paths. The decisions made by coaches like Reeve can either propel players to new heights or prevent them from reaching their full potential.
She is on pace to become only the 5th player in history in the WNBA. History, not rookie, player. to have a 15-5-5 season.
The media has played a significant role in shaping the stories surrounding Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Media coverage has amplified the comparisons between the two players, often to Reese's detriment. The media's emphasis on Clark's accomplishments and Reese's struggles has created a dynamic in which Reese is perceived as falling short, even when she performs admirably. The media's role in promoting women's basketball is crucial. Positive coverage can help elevate the sport and its players, attracting new fans and increasing visibility. However, the media also has the power to create narratives that may not fully reflect the complexities of players' careers. The media needs to balance its coverage, recognizing the achievements of all players, not just those who are seen as the next big thing.
I think, though, while you can't say she was snubbed, it was a mistake to leave her off. Because to grow the game of women's pro basketball here in America.
The future of women's basketball is bright, thanks in large part to players like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. As the sport continues to grow, it's important to recognize the contributions of all players, regardless of their current standing. While Caitlin Clark may be the face of the sport right now, players like Angel Reese also have a vital role to play in its future. The continued development of leagues like the WNBA and the introduction of new leagues like the Unrivaled League will provide more opportunities for players to showcase their talents. As these leagues evolve, the focus should remain on the players and the sport itself, ensuring that women's basketball continues to thrive.
And I just feel really grateful to be here, and I've put on an Iowa jersey for 4 years, but like Coach Bluder and Kate said, like there's still so much more fun to have, and we're not done.
There is.
In the big scheme of things, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are both vital to the story of women's basketball. While their routes may be different, everyone can leave a lasting impact on the sport. Caitlin Clark's domination on the court has already confirmed her as one of the game's greats, while Angel Reese's resilience and drive signal that her finest days are yet ahead. As we look to the future, it's vital to remember that basketball is a team sport and no individual can achieve success alone. Both Clark and Reese have benefited from the support of their teammates, coaches, and fans. As their careers continue to unfold, we can only hope that they continue to inspire the next generation of women's basketball players, proving that there's room at the top for more than just a one star.